These are the materials we'll be using: pattern paper, ruler, and of course the marker. First, I'm placing my shoulder line, which is also the start line. And next, this paper is on fold, so we'll see the both sides of the princess darts. Next thing I'll be doing is placing my shoulder measurement, which is 8.5 inches. Next is the neck width, which is 3 inches. The neck depth is 5 inches. I'm just going to mark that. And then next thing I'll be doing is placing my vertical points. The armhole is 8 inches plus 1 inch for the shoulder slope. That's 9 inches. So I'll just take out the 1 inch for the shoulder slope. I'll be connecting it to the neckline. Next is bust point, the bust line, which is 11 inches, 2 inches below the armhole line. Next is the under bust line, which is 14.5. And then I'll be placing the waistline, which is also the half line, at 17 inches. Next thing we're going to be doing is connecting those points we've already made. So this is my armhole line. I'll take out the 1 inch I already marked earlier and connect it to the neck, which is going to be the shoulder slope. Now I'll just get the shape of the neckline, 3 inches by 5 inches, connect it, and then start placing my horizontal lines. Here is the bust line, 2 inches below the armhole line. Here is the under bust line, and then this is the half length horizontal line, also known as the waistline. I'm just placing my horizontal line for the armhole here. Now this is the basics. Next thing I'll be doing is placing my armhole midpoint, which is 8 inches divided by 2 is 4 inches. Then I'll go in by 0.5 inch right there. Next thing, I'll connect the shoulder slope all the way down. I'm just measuring to know my bust measurement so that I can connect the 3 points together. So now connecting the shoulder slope to that part where I went in by 0.5, connecting it, and then from that point I'll connect it to that part where I measured my bust measurements at the armhole line on the chest line right there. So having done that, I'll be placing measurements on the horizontal lines. First, I'm just marking it, writing it, identifying it so we don't get confused while working. Now I'll just placing the bust span, which is nipple to nipple measurements. This is going to be 4.5. I've placed it on the bust line, on the bust, and then on the waistline. Then I'll roll a vertical line across those points like so, and then I would place the darts on this now. So here I'm going to be placing the larger part of the darts on the side towards the armhole, and right now I'm placing 0.5 inch on the inner part and then 2 inches on the side of the pattern. So this is the waistline, 0.5 towards the center and then 2 inches on the side of the pattern. On the dart leg, I'll come down by 1 inch like so, and now I'll just connect with my curve that 1 inch, the half inch. I'll connect it. I'll just roll a line across half inch, and then the parts where I have 2 inches, I'm rolling a line across. Now I'll use my curve to connect this to the bust span line, like so. You have to place it in a way that it's actually going to give you the curve. Yeah, like so. So after doing this, now I'm going to measure my armhole because it's a princess that we're doing. So I'm going to measure my armhole, and I'm not going to place my tape straight. I would make it stand so that, because it's a curved line, so that I can get the right measurement. I got 9, so I'm going to be placing this point on 4.5, which is the midpoint. Now connect that 4.5 to the dart leg. I hope you understand. I'll connect that point where I marked 4.5, which is the midpoint of 9 inches, the armhole curve. I'm connecting it to the dart leg. Now, having done that, I'm going to take 1/2 inch on both sides of this princess darts that I just created. 1/2 inch on the left and 1/2 inch on the right. And then I'll connect it to the curve, to the dart leg through the curve. So that's what I'm doing now. It's also going to be curved, so I'm just connecting the 1/2 inch on the upper part down to the dart leg, the princess dart here, and then the other one on the lower part. I'm going to connect it like so. Now this darts on the lower part, I'm going to extend it by 1 inch out of the pattern. I'm going to extend it by 1 inch like so, and then on the chest line I also extend it by 1 inch. Now this is my new armhole curve. I'll just draw the curve now and make sure it's actually on the right measurement. Yeah, so this is my new armhole curve. I'm just connecting it like so. Now we're done with all the curves. Let's place our body measurement now. On the bust line, placing the measurement at 10.5, which is 42 inches for circumference. Here I'm placing it on the waist line. I'll be placing it at 9.5. Now connect it to the bust line, and then now I'm connecting it to the chest line, my new armhole line, of course. So having done that, I would start placing my sewing allowance and then replacing the dart measurement I already took out on the outer part of the pattern. So 2.5 inches for the darts. So I'm going to place 2.5 inches for the darts, and then 2 inches for sewing allowance right here. I'll be doing the same thing on the bust line. The bust line, I didn't take out any dart on the bust line, so I'm just going to take the inches I use for my sewing allowance. For the bust line, I'm going to be using 2.5 inches because I'm going to be joining that part, the princess line. I'm going to be joining, so I'm using 2.5 inches on the bust line. So after doing that, I'll just connect the lines, and then we are done with this. So next thing we're going to be doing is cutting out the pattern. So see what it looks like. Now when cutting out the pattern, you have to be very careful, especially at that armhole area. So let's do this.
I'm dreaming in dreams bigger than me.
Taking my time, giving to me, paint my life into a masterpiece, coloring it how I want it to be. Now we're done cutting it. I'll just open them up and show what it looks like. So this is the center piece, and then I'll place the left and the right pieces on both sides. So this is what it looks like. I'll just couple it now and then show us what it looks like. We're done matching the three pieces together. Always make sure that the underbust matches well and then you join from the lower parts. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.